It's 11 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and start the broadcast of the webinar. Let folks file in. We should really have some entrance music or something in the, in the background.
Yeah. That's a good idea. We'll have to try to come up with something.
Yeah, well, welcome to February. It's already February.
I still can't believe it's 2022, let alone February.
Yeah, I keep, what's the first month of, there used to be this thing, sniglets. Do you remember those, Michelle?
What? Remember what? Snakelets?
Sniglets. It
No.
used to be some guy on, it was an HBO thing, where he would talk about words that should be real words, but they were totally made up. And the month of Checkuary is the period of time after the new year, but people write the wrong check in a wrong year on a check. So that's the month that we were in. I keep thinking it's 2021, but it's actually February 2022. You want to kick us off, Michelle?
Sure. Welcome, everybody, to another QB Power Hour. We're very excited to have you joining us today. Hope you survived the January 31st deadline for W-2s and 1099s and all that. And very glad to see you joining us this morning that you did survive. Today's topic is creating a roadmap to advisory. And this is some great content that you guys, I hope, will get a lot of benefit out of. My name is Michelle Long, CPA with an MBA in entrepreneurship, the owner of Long for Success. Very glad to have you joining me today. Y'all know about me. You will notice I'm still wearing black. I am still mourning the loss of the Chiefs game. So I am very sad and don't really want to discuss how bad we were on both offense and defense and how we lost it ourselves. Anyway, sorry. Very glad to have you joining us today. I'm not angry about it at all.
Not bitter at all, no.
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, my name is Dan DeLong, founder of Danwith, Transform Businesses Through Technology. Worked at Intuit for about 18 years, and your co-host today, as well as co-host of the Wednesday workshops at schoolbookkeeping.com. We're going to be joined again by Rob. You want to come on and introduce yourself, Rob?
Well, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rob Chandler, and pretty exciting football games. It was like Michelle said, she won the battle but lost the war, or vice versa. But I know it's been an exciting football season. But yes, we are upon February 1st. I can't believe already 1/12 of the year has already passed us. But my name is Rob Chandler. I was a founder and CEO of Cloud9 Realtime, exited and sold that business in 2017, and been working with accounting firms and small businesses around advisory services for the last couple of years. Just really excited to share with everyone today. Been in the fintech space for 27 years, so definitely understand the needs when it comes to business owners and accounting firms. So thank you, Dan and Michelle, for having me, and look forward to our time today.
Yeah, and this is part two of you joining us in this crafting a roadmap to advisory. And Michelle, this is a big touch point for you as well. Like I remember sitting in I think it was QB Connect or Scaling New Heights, and you were talking about value pricing and those are being an advisor is really part of that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where I'm so excited to have Rob and Jennifer on with us today, talking about this and giving us practical ways to make these changes. Because what we see, and I know you see it as well as Rob and everybody else, but a lot of our accounting professionals, they say, okay, I understand our industry is changing. I understand the work we do is changing and I need to do more advisory, but how? How do I transition? How do I start doing that? I'm just a bookkeeper. I've just been doing accounting services. I'm not sure, how do I do this? And so that's where I just love what Rob and them are coming up with and what they've got available to share with you all today. So very, very glad to have them back for us. Dan, you want me to talk about the upcoming webinars, or are you going to cover it?
Oh, I'll cover this.
Go ahead.
So of course the QB Power Hour is every other Tuesday at noon Eastern. Currently, we're not eligible for CPE credit. So the follow-up emails asking what the for the CPE credit. Sorry, we don't have that currently. But our upcoming webinars, we're going to have Practice Ignition come on and talk about some of the practice management functions. Blake Oliver and hopefully David will be joining us on the 1st of March. We can get the cloud accounting podcast reunion maybe. But definitely Blake will be joining us because Relay will be talking about some of the things that they've been working on. And then leveraging partnerships. I mean, you can't do this alone. And we'll be talking about leveraging partnerships. And this first part of the year, if you haven't noticed, QuickBooks and Intuit has been really focused on, converting desktop to online conversions. And Intuit will be joining us talking about how you do those conversions. What are some of the best practices with converting QuickBooks Desktop to online. And of course, we have the PDF of the slides, all the recordings, podcasts, and other resources available at qbpowerhour.com/resources. Some of the little housekeeping. If you have specific questions, we do have some folks from Path lurking in the background, and maybe we'll hear from them a little later. But if you have some specific questions about some of the content today, put those in the Q&A. If you just have general comments about how poorly the Chiefs played, put that in the comments.
Let's move along. Move along.
And of course, we have the handouts of all of the webinars, not just the ones that we're talking about here today. There's links for that as well as in the webinar archive on qbpowerhour.com. So I'm going to drive the slides. Rob's going to talk about the content. And if you didn't join us for Rob's first Power Hour back in December, wait a minute, what happened? Everything went crazy on me.
Dan, I took control and to drive the slides,
okay.
But
okay,
sorry
gotcha.
about that.
Okay. Yeah, threw me off there. But if you didn't join us for Rob's first discussion, we really had a really great discussion about just, what he had learned about working with, and interviewing accounting professionals, and kind of taking a new direction for Path, right? No pun intended.
No, definitely. And I'm, like I said, we interviewed over 500 accounting firms in 2021 and found out that they want to offer advisory services, but just didn't understand the steps that they needed to take, which I'm really excited about sharing that today. So we're going to kind of talk about reviewing the pain points of accounting firms, some of the discussions that we've had, also discuss the feedback that we received last year. And then also would love to hear from you and your firm of what you're seeing in the industry. So definitely feel free to use the chat in the toolbar to ask us any questions that we might have, or make a comment or a question. We'll make sure we'll definitely address that. And then we're also going to be discussing the Paths Playbook. This is something that we have been developing over the last couple of months. And so we're going to give you a kind of a sneak preview of that and based on discussing that. I have my counterpart, Jessica Ricard, so she's going to be joining us here in a second. But I'm going to go ahead and jump out to our first polling question. And that is, what kind of services are you providing to your clients right now? You have several choices. You have multiple choices, so you can answer more than just one. But what are the services that you're currently offering?
And Rob, while they're answering this poll question, I would just add to this that now when you're in the heat and the craziness of busy season, whether you do taxes or not, you're busy getting the year-end books cleaned up and ready to prepare the taxes. And if you're doing taxes, you've got that as well. But as you're doing all this work, think about what else is there? What else could I be doing? As you're working on that client, are they having cash flow issues? Do they need help with budgeting? Do they need to apply for a bank loan? Do they want to sell their business? Do they need help cleaning things up and getting it ready for sale? And, but think about some of these things that you see with the clients now that you could be helping them with, and you might plant that seed with them. Hey client, here's your tax return. I noticed this and this, or maybe we can talk about XYZ after tax season. You can kind of plant that seed now for implementing some advisory services with these clients. If nothing else, keep notes on what you're seeing and dealing with on these clients, because what'll happen, because come May, you're going to forget which clients needed cash flow planning, which clients needed budgeting and forecasting. So start kind of thinking about these things now, planting seeds and taking notes on this, so you're ready to get going after tax season.
I couldn't agree with you more, Michelle. It's one of those things that I always keep in the back of my mind when I'm having a conversation with a prospect or a client, is that need, want, or desire. What are they needing? What are they wanting? What's their desire, their outcome that they're looking at? So I always just have that simple 3 items in the back of my mind, so when I'm having those conversations, I can make sure I ask those questions.
Yeah. And the best source of new work and new services is your existing clients. So this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, no, definitely great. Well, we had several people that answer that polling question. It looks like about 86% of us do bookkeeping, about 55% of us do tax prep, and then CFO services and cash flow management and personal business planning and strategy consulting, kind of right across the board, around anywhere from 38 to 44%. So really interesting
Rob,
questions there.
This brings up a question that I wanted to ask you. So if you start with like one of these services, as an accounting professional, let's say, since bookkeeping is the lion's share of what people do. Let's say they start with one service. How can they, what would be like a normal progression of an accounting professional if they start with one and want to branch out into other services?
Well, I think it's one of those things where you have to find out where what you're excited about. Some people in the accounting and side will want to be excited about going into the tax. So is that something you want to go and receive further education? The simplest probably route to take is kind of the consulting side, because if you look at the accounting and the bookkeeping, I kind of break it down into two aspects. First is Michelle, you can comment on this too, is the accounting and the bookkeeping is kind of the compliance. They're going to need that information for basically several purposes. One, to see how their business is actually doing, but they're going to need that information. They're going to need those financial reports to do their government or state filings, and do their tax returns and those type of things. But then it gets down into really kind of the consulting, the strategizing, the other things that they need. Maybe they need to go out and raise basically capital, or they need to address, they have a lot of money coming in and coming out, and they need to address, cash flow issues. So it really comes down to, what is your niche? What is your desire? Where do you feel like your strengths are? Doing an assessment of yourself and your firm, of what your strengths and weaknesses are, is a great way to go about it, to find out the different types of services that you want to offer. But definitely when it comes to the accounting and bookkeeping, in my opinion, you should break it down into two different types of services, which we'll be talking about today. But Michelle, love to hear your comment there.
Well, you had some great comments, Rob, and I'm sure I'll chime in some, but let's go ahead and get into some of your great content, and I'll add commentary as we go.
So let's definitely do that. And feel free to use your, like I said, your chat to ask us any questions. But one of the things, when we spoke over to 500 accounting firms last year, these are some of the pain points that we basically saw, questions that we asked. So we asked accounting firms, what are their areas of weakness for their business today? And we heard lack of process. We heard we just don't have enough time. We heard, lack of employees because people are changing positions. How do I go about pricing my services? Because again, with inflation taking place, I need to increase my prices, but how do I go about doing that? How do I package my services instead of charging on an hourly basis? And then the sales aspect, how do I sell my services? And then, what marketing components, what things should I list on my website? How should I describe my services? And then the other item is, how do I deal with basically client turnover? So these were some of the things that we heard. And when we heard these things, it was really an eye-opening to us, saying, Path needs to be more centered around advisory services, of where we can help accounting professionals address some of their pain points. So that kind of takes us to our next question, and that is, what pain points do you face in your accounting firm today?
And Rob,
Everything.
I threw this question out to the chat, but everybody's kind of sleeping. I said, we especially notice the pain points during busy season, agree or disagree? And that's where I think some of this stuff, like lack of employees, lack of process, time, some of those things really become more pronounced and more noticeable when you're in the thick of it and you're working long hours and you're like, why is this so hard? It shouldn't be this hard. Why do we have this? And, as you notice things that are inefficient, that aren't working well in things, it's a great idea. If you can do something now to fix it and address it, great. But if not, at least document it, that this is something we need to address after busy season, because this is when they really get pronounced within your firm.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing that you said. I love how you said, Michelle, there, to document. In fact, I have, a whiteboard, and I have one of those now standing free desks that actually is a whiteboard, and so I can just get a dry eraser and write on that, and also have a notebook that I take notes in. And so I think that's the main thing, is document it, because after you get through tax season here on April 15th, this would be a great time to address some of your pain points that are actually taking place. And the people that answer the pain points there, kind of just right there was time, lack of employees, pricing, lack of process, kind of just right across the board. So this is exactly what we saw, when it came to, having conversations. And then that's why we have gone the direction that we have gone with the company, is kind of being more of that consultant type of practice, where you can get these basically tools that we're going to share with everyone today, but also have a platform that you can manage the actual process when it comes to advisory services. So one of the things that we're in the process of developing, and we're going to be rolling this out right after tax season, is what we call the Playbook for advisory services. So we're going to kind of take you and spend some time along this path today. And we have taken these different steps, and we have broken them down into 3 main modules, modules 1 through 3, modules 4 and 5, and then modules 6 and 7. I'm going to introduce Jessica Ricard here in a second. She's going to be walking us through these different types of modules. But the first module is the building blocks of advisory services. So just think about this. This is laying the foundation. This is laying the framework of offering advisory services. So this is going to give you the marketing component and the sales components of everything that you need to know about advisory services. And then the second step that we're going to take is we're going to help you prepare for that client meeting. So you go into that meeting knowing exactly what questions that you want to ask the client, and then making sure that you have the information needed to address the client's pain points that they're basically facing. And then the next step that we're going to walk you through is a discovery meeting with the client. So sitting down, having that meeting with that client, collecting those answers to the questions that you're going to be preparing for. And then at that time, you kind of have the framework of what type of business that they're looking to build. You're going to know exactly where they stand, where they want to, how they want to exit their business, how they want to advance and grow their business. And then we're going to put together the framework of building that roadmap with Path. And this is where Path, the software, comes into play to help you keep track of building that basically successful business with your client. And then the next component is your path to success begins. So we're going to be collecting those important questions. We're going to be documenting them. We're also going to be monitoring the important KPIs. And then the second to the last step is that deeper dive. Because once that client creates that success, how do you take them to the next basically step? And then that finishes right there with the American dream. And that's when they've achieved the success in their business. What next steps are they going to be taking? So that kind of gives you a summary of the advisory services. But before we get into breaking down each module, I want to go ahead and launch out our next question, which is how many clients do you use for QuickBooks Online?
And Rob, while they're doing that, I'm just going to add, I love that you have in there the steps of preparing for and conducting a client meeting, because so many of us accounting professionals, we're nervous at that step. We're totally comfortable doing the work and doing what we do, but when it comes to talking to the client and bringing up, sometimes we think these are sensitive topics, or we just don't necessarily have the confidence to walk into that meeting feeling prepared and confident and really presenting things well. So I love that you're helping with that aspect of things, because that is what's missing a lot of times. We may have the technical know-how, but communicating and talking to the client about it, I think, is really important. So I'm glad to see you guys are including that.
No, and just to let everybody know, we have what we call a client advisory board. So what Michelle just said there is, when we got that feedback from the accounting professionals and from small businesses of what they were missing to really help them to be successful, we shared that with our client advisory board and started developing what we call the Path Playbook, which Jessica's going to be talking about here in a second. And these are the questions and these are the things that we heard about. And, we'd love to hear back your feedback as well, because, being one of those individuals that are out there trying to implement different advisory services or different services in the industry, it's very important to receive your feedback, because that's how we can help you. So that being said, I want to bring Jessica Ricard on. She's going to be talking about the different modules of the Path Playbook. So Jessica Ricard, she's been with our company from the very beginning. She oversees the client success and it speaks to a lot of our clients. So I want to go ahead and welcome Jessica at this time.
Hey guys, how's it going? So like Rob mentioned, I've been with the company since the beginning. I don't necessarily have a background in the accounting world, but I do have it in the marketing world, and have a little bit of experience in kind of translating that conversation. Like you were just saying, Michelle, it's scary to walk into a client meeting. You might not feel confident. So Rob and I work really nicely together, and he can say, okay, here's what the accountant would say. And I'd be like, all right, say it like this, so that the business owner understands a little bit better, that you come across as not scary, saying all these terms that they don't understand. So with that being said, we've kind of built out 7 modules for this playbook. And it's built into 3 different packages. So the first package on your screen now is modules 1 through 3. These modules are highlighting how to market your firm, how to price different services at your firm, and how to prepare and conduct that client meeting. So module number 1, building blocks of advisory services. This is how do you build different packages? How do you price those different packages? We provide you with templates on if you're going to offer these different services, maybe here's how you price it. Is it per hourly? Is it a flat fee? Information like that on how to build out those packages for you and your firm, and also how to market those packages. We're going to be providing some marketing templates for maybe some emails, maybe you're redoing your website, maybe you want to build out a case study or a one-pager for your firm. We're giving you go back one slide, Rob, please. Thank you. So we're going to be giving you kind of those templates to get you started with marketing and promoting yourself. The next module, preparing for the client meeting. We're still building out, here's some questions, some important questions to ask either new clients or existing clients. Maybe you haven't had this type of meeting with some of your existing clients. You can do this at any point, right? it's important to kind of get that information from them to say, what is important to you and how can I help you achieve your goals or dreams or anything like that. So we help you prepare for that meeting and then walk you through how to conduct that meeting. What does the conversation look like? What does the follow-up look like for it? And what pieces of information do you need to get from your client so that you can both be successful? So that's all included in our first package, the modules 1 through 3. So the next package is where we start bringing in the Path platform. So module number 4, building the roadmap with Path. It's how to take everything from modules 1 through 3 and then build out a plan and a follow-up sequence in Path. So Path by Simplex is a platform that connects to QuickBooks Online. I know you guys have probably heard us talk about it so many times. So it connects with QuickBooks. It gives you the ability to communicate with your client, look at data in a bunch of different ways. And so module 4 talks about how do you take the goals and dreams that you talked about with your client in module 1 and build those out in Path. So then module number 5 here is diving in deeper to that, right? How do you use Path and communicate with clients, analyze business data, and consistently have those conversations with your client? The last 2 modules, modules 6 and 7, we're talking about the deeper dive, right? Things like evaluating your business, comparing the business to others in the industry, different pieces like that add value to your services and your firm. And then how do you translate that to your client? So deeper dive is further analyze your business, add value. And then the American Dream, we're giving you kind of the setup of how do you help them find maybe a succession planner? Do you do that in your firm or do they need to go somewhere else? How do you find who you're going to pass the business on to? Different things like that, and how to transition the business if that's what they are working towards. So 7 different modules. We're going to have 3 different packages, all about how to conduct advisory services, market your firm, and then use Path to help you achieve those goals. So, and then these are our separate plans. The starter includes modules 1 through 3. Again, centered around advisory services, marketing, and pricing. Nothing really to do with Path by Simplex, the platform, but it kind of helps you get started with advisory services. The next package is our advisory package, includes modules 1 through 5. It's how to build out advisory and then implement Path into your firm. And then succession is all of the modules, how to build out an advisory program, use Path in your firm, and then add more value to your firm with other value add services. And then so here we have a sample of what's included. And I think Rob is going to pull up some of these. So I could sit here and talk to you about what we're going to include in this playbook, but I think we're going to add a little bit more weight to my words and show you a couple examples of some different templates that could be included. So we're going to have a sample pricing model template. This is, and Rob just pulled it up on the screen. So we break out different things that you could offer in your firm. So quality review and preparation of a company budget. Are you going to do that as a service? Are you going to do analysis and review for tax planning? So we break it all out and give you an example of how to price it and how you can create different packages of service. So here we have a silver, gold, and platinum. What's included in those? How often should you be doing it? How many hours should it take you? And then here's kind of an example of how you can price it. All of these documents are going to be in like Google Docs or Google Sheets so that you can download it and make edits or changes that fit your firm, so that it can be customizable to you and the exact services that you're offering. Another piece, and this is a really cool one, is our QuickBooks data file analysis. So this is a 28-point checkup. So we have listed down here, it goes through your chart of accounts, financial statements, etc. And you can check off different tasks. So if my expense account is set up properly, I can check that off. If my cost of goods accounts are not set up properly, I can add a comment into the side to say, this is what needs to happen. I need to change XYZ before I can check this off. as you check through different things, the little gauge at the top is going to go up, your percentage is going to go up, and you're going to be able to see kind of the health status of your QuickBooks file. So this is something, and there's going to be a poll question kind of towards the end. We would love to give this to you guys right now. So you can kind of play with it and check out either your QuickBooks file, your client's QuickBooks file to see what the health status is. The next piece, this is that questions to ask document when we're talking about the discovery meeting. It's just a list of questions and kind of an explanation. What keeps you up at night is a really good question to ask your clients. Something that bothers them, something that they're worried about, and maybe how you can help fix it. That's a really important question to ask. And then the last example I want to show you guys is our business insight report. So this is a document that Rob has actually created looking at some QuickBooks numbers. So you're looking at revenues, you're looking at budget projections and where the difference is. And you can kind of, it gives you a brief overview of it. Are things on a positive note? Are things on a negative note? Here's what that means. And here's kind of where the money is right now. So it's just a quick way to say, here's the status of your money in your accounts and things like that. So those are just some examples of what's included in this playbook. Of course, so many other things are going to be in it. We're going to have templates and examples like this. We're going to have videos. We're going to have walkthroughs on the Path platform and all different things like that. So it's going to be really robust in all of the content. And we're kind of excited to get it all up and running.
And these are customizable to each individual, correct? It's not that, you know, those tools and resources that you're making available are cookie cutter where you have to fit the mold, right?
Yeah, so we know that every firm, every client is different, right? What somebody in a restaurant business needs might not be what somebody in a retail business needs, right? So we're giving them to you in kind of like a Google Doc style. So you can take it, copy it, duplicate it, make changes or add adjustments or anything like that that you might need. So it'll help you in your firm better.
And Dan, I would just like to mention, we will be having a user group regarding the Path users, and they will be having discussions each month of what are the new tools that they'd like to see us create. So based upon that feedback, we will be developing anywhere from about 1 to 3 new tools each month, whether it's on the sales or marketing or the operations side that's going to be addressing. So, you know, one of the things, if you think about, you know, what we all experienced 2 years ago as the PPP, we would have been probably most likely concentrating a lot on, you know, that information and documents and, you know, just marketing collateral that you can share with your clients. So we're going to be that go-to, you know, advisor as when you're looking to do advisory services, what are the tools that you need, and then helping you assist you in creating those tools for your practice.
You know, one of the things that I love about what you guys are doing here is, you know, a lot of times if you're in a firm, they've got information and checklists and details and things like this. But if you've started your own firm and if you're by yourself or you're still a smaller firm, you know, this is great to get you going doing these things so you don't have to start from scratch and create your own stuff. You know, so I just love this. This is so valuable. That's one of the things that I found the most challenging when I started my own firm was in the big firm. I already had all the checklists and guides and all the tools, but then I started on my own. I'm like, oh crap, I don't have anything, you know? So I love this because it helps, you know, give people those resources and tools that they need. So thank you guys for developing this. I love it.
I also want to jump in. I see some questions coming in the Q&A. So is this a one-time purchase? So there's going to be a couple options there. You're going to be able to pay for a year access or pay monthly for access. And it'll be based upon which package you choose, the starter, advisory, or succession. So there's a couple different ways there. And then is this a partnership group with your products for accounting professionals? This is something that we've kind of developed all on our own to give you guys the guidance and how to create that advisory services and offer those things. And it is a purchase. It is either an annual plan or a monthly plan. But you will, if you're in the advisory or succession plan, you will have the opportunity to get a certification as well. It's our Path Advisory certification. It kind of says that you are a certified advisor, you have the experience in Path and being an advisor to your clients. And so we're going to be offering that as well.
So, and
another badge to put in your signature.
There you go. I would just add one thing too here. Jessica, you did a great job explaining the playbook and all that and things like that. But I guess the thing that really hits me is you guys have created a tool, the app Path by Simplex. And that app allows us, as you mentioned, to communicate with our clients and things like that. But as we identify, let's say this client has a bank loan and that loan has loan covenants. Our debt to equity always has to be above 2, or our current ratio always has to be above 1, or whatever the specific debt loan covenants are. We need to help the client, or we can offer to help the client monitor those key ratios, and we can use Path to create custom ratios like sales by square foot or something like that, to where we can set up these KPIs, these key performance indicators, and monitor them to help the client not only stay in compliance with loan covenants, but to achieve the financial goals which we can help them set. So with this tool, it allows us, okay, we've identified these advisory services. Now let's implement them very efficiently with minimum time on our part. And so I love the marriage of here's how you do it, here's how you talk to your client, but then here's the nitty-gritty of getting the work done fast and efficiently, so you don't need more employees cranking this out all the time because Path's doing it automatically. So I just think it's a great marriage, setting us up for success. So I just think that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to point out to Martha in the chat, she just said using the phone app to inform the client of goals and milestones is simple and fun. And that's something that's really cool too, is it is an app we're in the Google Play Store and in the Apple Store, and you can turn on notifications that way to say, hey client, I need you to do XYZ right now, right? That your clients aren't sitting at their computer, they got their phone in their hand though, so they can easily complete that task for you a little bit quicker, so you're not sitting around waiting and now it's the 30th of the month and you don't have everything you need to close out the books, right? So there's a lot of cool things that we're building in the platform itself, and with this playbook that's just going to make it easier to help your clients achieve their goals.
One of the things I saw in the chat, maybe we can speak to, and maybe this is more of a question for Rob, is that some of the complex clients end up using desktop, and this is Path is connecting to QuickBooks Online. How does that, like some government entities and those types of things, how does that, how do they work with within those confines where maybe they're in a different platform?
So one of the things that we're working on is the desktop module or the integration, which will be out probably by the second or third quarter of this year. The reason why we started with QuickBooks Online is today there's about 5 million small businesses utilizing QuickBooks Online. So that's kind of the reason why we started there. But we're going to be going from QuickBooks Desktop to Xero and then to Sage. So that's definitely in our roadmap, is those additional integrations.
That's good to hear, and glad to because there's a large loyalty to desktop for a lot of folks for a lot of different reasons. So I'm glad to hear that it's not only QuickBooks Online, it's a desktop is on your path, no pun intended.
Yeah, Jessica, I think I have this screen up of the Path by Simplex features. Can you kind of just summarize the different features of the platform?
Absolutely. So up top, we're putting ourselves in the category of a financial collaboration platform. So on the top, we have our collaboration features, which is our timeline, which is the center feed, just like Facebook, just like LinkedIn. It's a scrollable feed where you can share comments, calculations, files, pictures, documents, anything like that. You can share and comment on them in the timeline. Then we have our to-do list, which works just like any regular to-do list. You add a task, you can assign a due date. You can also assign a responsible person. So if you're adding your client and maybe members of their team to the platform, you can say, all right, Joe, I need you to send me this by Friday. And you can add that task and then they will see it on their side. Bookmarks is how you can create your own custom dashboard. So like you were saying, Michelle, if there's specific calculations or metrics that you need to track to stay in compliance, you can put all of those on one dashboard to say, okay, this is where I'm going to look every single day to make sure that we are in compliance and that we're good on track with everything that we need. We have that number of below 2, and that's where we need it, right? So you can create that bookmark, track those KPIs. Milestones is critical events in the business. So did you hire a new person? Did you start advertising? Did you have to close down because of COVID? You can create those milestones, and then you can attach any documents or files or metrics to those milestones, so that maybe in 3 years, you need to go back and say, okay, I did apply for that PPP loan. What documents did I use for that? What is that? Right? So you can go back to that milestone, see all those documents there. The next group of features is all of our financial features. So we have what we call our data mesh. It is our kind of engine of the whole operation. That's where you create those calculations. So because we connect with QuickBooks Online, we pull data directly from QuickBooks. So if you type in total income for the last 12 months, it'll go to QuickBooks, read that number, and then spit it back out at you. And you can create a calculation with that number. The next piece is our industry comparison. We have a non-exclusive agreement with RMA, and we use that data to compare specific metrics from others in the industry to your business. So if you're looking at a current ratio and you want to compare to others in the restaurant business, you can do that and you can share that with people as well. The impact center, that's kind of an overview of accounts receivables, accounts payables. So money in, money out, and where your customers and vendors are located in the world. It'll show you a nice map. It'll give you a breakdown of all the transactions with those customers or with those vendors. So you can see that all in one place. And then lastly, our business snapshot. That's an estimated value of the business. We use the EBITDA method, earnings approach to calculate that. There's also what we call our what if scenarios to say, okay, if you increase earnings by $100,000, how does that impact my business value? And if that's the case, what do I have to do to do that? How do I increase my earnings? Now we got to track that and make decisions based on that. So that's kind of all of our features. I know there's some questions coming in.
Yeah, I think one of the confusions of what is Path, putting that, is how much is it like behind the scenes for the accountant and bookkeeping professional, and how much is available to the client, because the client will be able to see some of the things that you're doing but not all, or is it they have the keys to the kingdom and they can see your special sauce of what you're doing behind the scenes? Because at Don's point, clients knowing stuff scares me, he said.
Yeah. And that's also customizable. So as the accounting professional, right, you could be the admin on the account, and essentially you would invite your client to be a user. What's really cool is you can be very specific on what your client sees. So you can turn things on and off, and that includes specific features. So if you don't want them to have access to data mesh, they don't have to have access to it. You can turn it off. Go ahead, Michelle. I thought you were ready to say something.
No, go ahead. I'll wait till you're finished. It's okay.
The next piece of that is specific pieces of data you can turn on and off for different users. So maybe having your business owner see all their data. I mean, it's their data. They could see it in QuickBooks anyway. But if they want to invite other members of their team, like the marketing director or the sales director, anything like that, you can turn on and off different pieces of data. So, okay, the marketing team only needs access to the advertising numbers. That's all they need to see. You can make that happen, and then they will not see any other pieces of data or any calculations unless they have access to that data.
And so
there's that.
And so here's what I think is just incredible, because, as to Don's comment about, I don't want my client to see everything. You're right. If they see everything, it's overwhelming to them and they see nothing. They just don't pay attention to it. So if you can identify with the client, hey, your goal this year, let's say you want to increase sales by 30% or 40%, or your goal is this, or your goal is that. If you help the client create and identify SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely, or something like that, you help them to identify these goals and set these goals and stuff, then you can identify those key ratios, the key KPI, the key indicators to help them achieve that. So let's say the client wants to increase sales by square foot, sales by crew, if it's a landscaping crew, whatever the situation is, they want to increase sales and they set a goal. So now you turn that into the people, to the servers in the restaurant, or the the crew on the landscaping team, that your goal is to increase the sales for your unit by this much. Then you can set up sales per crew, or sales per square foot, or sales per table. You can help them monitor that. You share that ratio with them so they can see, okay, every time we go out to mow the grass, if I ask them, are you interested in landscaping? Are you interested in snow removal? Are you interested in special fertilization? Upsell them, just like at the restaurant. Would you like a drink? Would you like dessert? Upselling. You can set those goals, then create these ratios and these indicators to help those people that are responsible for that, as well as the owner, help them see that and help them see how they're getting to their goals. And my comment with my clients were always like, they would not look at the numbers if I would give them reports, but if I gave them a picture book, if you give them a chart or a graph and explain what it means, they love tracking that progress. They love seeing it go up. And you can build rewards in that too. If you achieve this, you get a bonus of this. So, you don't have to share everything with them, because then they don't look at anything. Share those KPIs that are most critical to achieving the goals that you help them set.
Michelle, I just wanted to comment on top of that, because you're talking around KPIs. We've actually developed a library of about 25 different industries with the different KPIs for those industries. And so that's something that's going to be very helpful. And that goes back into preparing for that meeting. So if you're sitting down with a construction company, we can give you those KPI libraries that you can go in and prepare. And as a client's asking, or you're trying to monitor KPIs for that construction industry, you can turn to that library of calculations.
And that's a great way, talking to the client, hey, other clients like you are spending 8% on marketing and advertising, and you're only spending 5%. So we probably need to focus on that. Or, your payroll is at this percentage, where others in the industry are at this percentage. So I love that you've got that, Rob, as well as the industry comparisons there. Your industry comparisons are coming from the industry standards. It used to be like RMA. I don't know what it's called now. Whereas in Intuit, and you guys know I love Intuit, I love QuickBooks, and QuickBooks has the ability to do some industry comparison, but it's based on other QBO users within a geographic proximity to you, whereas your industry comparisons are truly an industry comparison. With the QuickBooks, you may not even have enough people in that industry to have an industry comparative ratio. So I do like that you guys have those industry, not just the ratios, but also the industry averages for us.
No, definitely. And what you said, Michelle, is so true. Just to kind of summarize, to get your basic certification, you have to complete modules 1 through 5. To get the advanced, it's adding modules 6 and 7. So that kind of gives you an overview of the path certification. So we can't wait to help you become a certified advisory. That's why, we've developed this program, is to just not give you a platform, but give you the tools. And as your clients ask you questions or ask you for different KPIs that we might not have in our playbook, we'll help develop those for you so you can use those in your practice. So we definitely want to be that resource to your firm. And then we talked a little bit about the Path by Simplex features. You can actually go to pathbysimplex.com and sign up for a demonstration, and we'll walk you through how to implement the milestones and the goals. What Jessica and Michelle said, what's nice is you can start right there with the milestones and the goals and not even give and have discussions around KPIs. So those menus on the left-hand side, the features that you're seeing there, they can be easily turned on and turned off for your clients. So this is one of our last couple polling questions, that is, would you like to learn more about our Path Playbook platform and certification? If you can go ahead and answer that question, that would be very helpful to us. So go on and give everybody.
I also have this one is a two-parter. So there's actually two questions on this one, because you guys showed some of those tools and resources that you make available, and you guys are making the QuickBooks file scorecard available, so you can opt in to be receiving that, whether you're part of the path to advisory or not. So it is a good resource to check out.
Yeah, no, thank you, Dan. And like I said, we'll be doing a soft launch in March, but this will be something that we strongly recommend that you get started, right after tax season, as you can start to implement the advisory services for your practice. So if you want to go on and launch out that second part of the question.
Yeah, it's part of the same.
Oh, okay, it's part of the thing. Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
You just had to scroll down.
I
missed that.
That's why I wanted to call it out, because if you didn't see it, you may need to scroll to answer that one.
There's a question in the Q&A I want to answer. What's the cost of this app? So the actual Path platform, we charge based on QuickBooks file that you connect. So we actually have an advisor package that includes 3 QuickBooks files. So that could be 3 clients, that could be 2 clients and your QuickBooks file. For that, it's $99 a month. It is a monthly subscription. And that's kind of how it's built out. You can see more about our pricing on our website, and I put that link in the chat.
Dan, I see he says, do you want to answer the LivePlan question? That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Jessica or Rob, somebody asked about LivePlan and how this would compare or differ from LivePlan. Is that something that you're familiar with? Could answer for us?
I can probably comment on that. LivePlan is actually a great, product. I've used that with clients all the time, especially going out and executing a business plan from A to Z, especially going out and raising capital or raising, a bank loan or something like that. They definitely have some features that kind of cross line with us. But one of the things that kind of sets us apart with LivePlan is we're more or less that financial collaboration. So as things are taking place in the business, we can attach documents, we can bookmark those, we can set up the customized KPIs and have collaboration and communication all around those different topics. So definitely LivePlan is a great product to use with your clients, but I think it's more of kind of a scope of, if you're looking to do a business plan or go out and raise business capital, I'd probably definitely recommend a product like that.
One of the things you mentioned, collaboration and communication with our clients. One of the things that I love, it's all in one place. We've got our financial ratios and KPIs and all that in Path, and we also are communicating with our client right there within Path. Like you said, sharing documents and things like that. I don't have to go look at my email. I don't have to go check Slack. I don't have to go over here. It's all within one centralized location, which we communicate with our client that way, but then the client can also communicate with their team members and their employees, like whoever's responsible for sales or whatever. I mean, so I love, like you said, you've got the collaboration and stuff, but I like that it's all in one location as well. It's not spread out.
No, I couldn't agree with you what you said. I'll just kind of piggyback on that, Michelle, is you can segregate those conversations and those documents by departments. You can segregate them by, like, say, financial reports. tax returns, different type of topics or subjects. And then you can invite, people to those conversations where other people, like maybe the sales and marketing, they don't have access to the financial reports, but maybe they have access to everything that's sales related. So one of the good things, you being the accountant, you manage and control that access point. So hopefully that answered some people's questions there.
Well, very cool.
Yeah, I think one of the questions that came up when Jessica was talking, the things that you can share and collaborate between your clients. Can you speak to a little bit about what you would share? Like, you were saying like pictures and those types of things, but can you share files? And if you do share files, is there a size limitation, or is there any kind of security concerns of being able to access that by people who you don't want to have access that information?
So everything is done with the security that we're all used to as accounting professionals. You can share any documents that you want, up to, I believe, 100 megabytes. So if you need to share PDFs or a spreadsheet or a Google link or something like that, you can do that. As you're sharing and posting those items to conversations or to bookmarks, you're going to be able to see who has access to it. So you just got to make sure, that you are posting those documents or those links in the places where the proper people have access to. So again, whether it's pictures, PDFs, Google Sheets, Word documents, tax returns, any types of things, you're going to be able to share those. You can add an additional security to PDFs, such as putting passwords on there, which I recommend. And along with tax returns, I know a lot of people, add that, third layer of security there, which I always would definitely recommend.
And here's an example. Let's make sure I'm not muted. Sorry. Here's an example. Let's say you've got, we all use Craig's Design and Landscaping, the sample company. So Craig's got this, company here doing design and landscaping. Let's say he's got 5 different crews. Well, the foreman of crew A could create a job. This is the Dan DeLong job. And he goes out on the job site and takes pictures of the job site. He puts an estimate together, and then he can share that with Craig or whoever else. He can share that job, saying, hey, here's what we've got, here's what we propose, here's the estimate, what are your thoughts, do you approve? You could keep track of things internal within the company as well as between us and our clients. Between us and the clients, we need, like Rob mentioned, financial information, things like that. But within the company, they can be sharing and restricting access to just the team that's on crew A that can access that information, not everybody, so there's lots of different ways that you can share that information. And, Rob and Jessica shared some statistics previously about keeping people within the company feeling like they know what's going on and like they are part of the company. That helps with employee loyalty and stuff. So there's a lot of benefits to the company and their employees implementing PATH, as well as benefits for us, helping them with advisory services and things like that. So I just think it's pretty flexible, and I love it. And Rob, what was it that from K9, what's his name? He had great things to say about it. Randy.
Oh, Randy Johnson. He just
Johnson. Thank you.
Jessica, you can probably, he just said that there's just not an app or a platform it's a unique software that he's never seen. And what's nice about that, what just Michelle just said was, and that was Randy Johnson with K2 Enterprises.
K2.
Yeah, that said that. But what's nice is we charge per company file. So you can add those landscapers to the platform. They cannot see any of the financial information, but you maybe want information about that job. Like, a place where you take the before and after pictures, or maybe put the work order of everything that needs to be done there. It's one place, like Michelle said, and it's segregated individually by jobs, and you're given permission. And a lot of people, you know, the things with software as a service is that today is it's a cost per user, where our platform, it's a cost per company file, which is a big difference because now you can get everybody interactive in the company's success around what's taking place in the business.
Wonderful. Well, I look forward to seeing the playbook finished and completed and rolled out and having you both on in the future. I think it's been great, Rob and Jessica, having you join us today and share this with everybody. Dan, any comments, questions?
No, thanks. Thanks again for joining us today, and we look forward to closing this trilogy of the webinar and seeing this, seeing what happens. You know, when you have this available, you know, to launch with us all. So coming up in the future QB Power Hours, again, join us every other week, Tuesday at noon. Our next one will be with I forgot already. It's going to be with Practice Ignition, so they'll be joining us to talk about some of the functions and features that they have. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time on